Hey ya hey me ya hey me ya hey ya hey ya ho 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 hey hey ya hey yo hey ya hey yo hey hey ya hey ya hey yo hey ya hey ho hey ya hey ya hey hey. Until you sink deeper and discover the conflict. I should be, do, act this way, and this is why this is important to me, but let's figure out the conflict that is there so it can be addressed. Writing it out clearly is recommended. Ya hey me yo hey ya home hey ya hey ya hey ya ho hey hey ya hey ya hey ya home hey wa hey wa hey wa hey ya home hey wa hey hey ya home hey ya hey ya me ya hey home hey ya me ya me ya hey home hey ya 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 hey ya ho hey ya ho hey hey ya hey home hey ya hey home hey ya ho hey hey ya ho hey hey ya hey home hey ya hey yo hey hey yo hey home hey yo hey ya home hey yo hey hey yo ya hey yo ya hey ya ya home hey yo hey hey ya hey me ya home hey ya me ya home hey ya hey hey ya me ya daily Instagram captions ya hey ya home hey yo hey ja, 0103. Es ist so leicht, es ist so easy, ja, and the second one, ja, hey, hey, ja, hey, ja, sincerely, yeah, oh, I've done this so well. I am doing this so well, and I'm loving myself through the process. Yeah, hey, yeah, hey, yeah, oh, may you, hey, yeah, hey, yeah, oh. If you want to be exceptional, you gotta live like an exception. Yahweh, Yahim, Yahweh, Yahweh, Yahweh. Hey, Yah, hey, hey, ya, hey, Yahum, hey, yo, hey, ya, hey, hey, ya, 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 hey, ya, 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 hey, ya, 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 hey, ya, ya. In a very real way comes from the feeling and experience of self-efficacy, period. Yeah. Hashtag self-efficacy. 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 Yeah, hey. That means that you feel that you have influence over your life and your behavior. Hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, home ya, hey ya, hey. What is preventing us from this feeling of self-efficacy, like we are not in control of ourselves? What is preventing us, Yahweh? Yahweh, Yahim. That's enough. That is enough for today. We are copying that, we are copying that, we are saving the draft. Oh, Yahim, Yahweh, Yahom. Hey, Yahom, I get more sick of the same music, Yahoo, much earlier than people actually start to notice, Yahoo. I see my stuff so often that I think everybody does, but that is not correct, that is not correct. Yahoo, Yahoo, Yahoo. Hey ya, hey me ya, oh, hey ya, ya, oh, hey. Hey ya, ya, hey me ya, ya, yo, me ya, hey ya, he me yo, hey. Hey ya, ya, he me ya, ya, oh, he me ya, ya. Hey ya, ya, hey yo, hey. The things performing well, yeah, the things are performing well on my phone, Yahweh, on my IG, on my IG, my IP, things are performing well, yeah, yeah, let's take these ranzigen Dinger off, Yahweh. Yes, I am so glad and grateful, so appreciative of everything that I do have, Yahweh. This is great, this is great, I'm looking good, I'm looking like the pro that I am, talking to my clients every day, every day. Every day, every day, every day, holding people to a higher source. Hey ya, hey ya, 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 hey ya, ho, me yo, hey ya, ho, hey. Hey ya, hey me ya, ya, ho, me ya, ya, ho, me ya, ho, me ya, ya, hey ya, ho, hey. Yeah, tomorrow we're going up to the land, up to the land, up to the land. Tomorrow we are going up to the land, up to the land. Yes, I am willing, yeah, to sacrifice this one call, Yahweh, Yahweh. Just this one time, just this one time, Yahweh, Yahweh, may you, hey. Hey, may I, Yahweh, may I, Yahweh, may I, Yahweh. Hey, he may, Yahweh, hey. Hey ya, 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 hey yo, hey. Yes, I am making the meetings happen everywhere and every day with my computer. It is easy, home, ya, hey ya, home, ya, ho. Hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, ho, hey yo, hey ya, hey him. Hey Looking at the charts, looking at the charts, Yahweh. Oh, we're going forward, Yahweh. What's the channel? 53 at 53 minutitos, Yahweh, Yahweh, Yahweh. Hey, yo, ya, ya, ho, me, yo, ya, hey, ya, him. Ya, ya, hey, ya, oh, me, ya, oh, me, ya. Let's clean the journal one more time. We have done all the things that we are setting out to do, to cleaning up my life, to cleaning up my life and my time and my life and my life and my time, and in my lifetime I will be wealthy. Yahoo, it is inevitable, Yahoo, 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 Yahoo. Hey, hey, ya, hey, hey, ya, hey, hey, ya, home. Hey, hey, ya, hey, hey, ya, hey, hey, ya, home. Hey, hey, ya, hey, hey, ya, hey, hey, ya, home. Hey, ya, hey, hey, ya, hey, hey, ya, home. Hey, ya, hey, ya, him. Ya, hey, ya, hey, ya, hey, ya, home. Oh, where were we at? Where we at? Yeah, hey, yeah, okay, here. Alright then, alright here. Man, I'm looking rough. I am looking so rough. But it is so easy, Yahoo, to make my life of my dreams happen, Yahoo. I am speaking to the person's deepest fantasy, comma. There's always a fantasy and a relationship fantasy that comes out of the deepest wound of the person. For me, it is to be perfect and masterful right out of the gate when I start working with test clients. Yes, I am immediately perceiving my client's inner conflicts and energetic blockages. Yes, I am providing a total revamp and a complete energetic realignment to my client. I immediately perceive my client's inner conflicts. The conflict that Jazz has between her global beliefs and her need structure. The conflict between her rules for herself and behaviors like overeating and the associated thought, feeling and behavior patterns that come with it. Dash. These conflicts are usually a manifestation of the client's deepest fears. My signature techniques and the strategies of the 7 master steps that are behind the techniques. Mirror laws and principles, understanding dynamics, taking blame off, breaking identification with the pattern, show intent, dash, show how it is guided towards healing and balance. Wounds, this is one of the core cornerstones of my work. From the wounds, I infer the specific thought, feeling, and behavior patterns used in the deep psychological belief change work after step 4. These thoughts, feelings, and behavior patterns build trust whenever I cold read them. These thoughts, feelings, and behavior patterns help me get leverage over my client for him to change his most challenging and most painful patterns that are getting in the way of him experiencing his needs. So I always pay attention. I immediately perceive my client's top 2 human needs. Top 2. I immediately perceive my clients towards and away from values, and I utilize those to create massive psychological leverage in step 2. I immediately perceive my clients' global beliefs and the inner conflicts that come from them, as well as utilize them to get massive psychological leverage onto my client by showing and telling how the undesired behavior conflicts with the global beliefs and how the desired behavior aligns with the global beliefs. I immediately perceive what I like and respect about my client, and I immediately perceive means to utilize these qualities for leverage. I immediately pay attention to the wording and the language that my client chooses in order to utilize that to create massive psychological leverage onto him and utilize it in the Alex Hormozi painting pictures of pain and pleasure work. My signature techniques are utilizing the identity, the strongest force in the human personality, for massive psychological leverage. Bringing resources to where they are not. Humor, what if you brought some kind of humor to your eating habits when you get scared, ? But getting scared is meeting your needs. Intervention, Vanessa. Parts interventions is always for blueprint interventions and also to change my clients' behaviors and give practical advice. It also serves for explanation of dynamics for ease and inner peace. Part intervention are for step 4 and step 5, creating a new empowering alternative by speaking to the parts, clarifying the intention of that part and letting that part speak. There is general leverage, like for a sales call that the client generally needs to change and that he has a problem and specific leverage to change the one pattern that is frustrating his top 2 human needs, values, rules or vehicles. Articulating the beauty of life is for step 2, getting leverage, period. I show and tell people how everything is guiding him towards healing. Also, the mirror laws are incorporated into step 2, get leverage. Wounds are my signature technique, : I immediately perceive my client's wound alongside the top 2 human needs, the pattern that frustrates the client, what part needs to be retrieved, what I respect about my client, and whether I need to work on the emotional home, the blueprint, the need structure, understanding of dynamics or actions, habits, adjusting his life circumstances. During the conversation, I look for the pattern that frustrates the top 2 human needs of the client, I pick up this language pattern that I can utilize for massive psychological leverage. During the conversation, I look for what part needs to be retrieved. During the conversation, I find out whether to work on the need structure that frustrates the top 2 human needs, values, rules, or vehicles, or whether to work on the blueprint that frustrates the top 2 human needs, values, rules, or vehicles, or whether to work on the emotional home. Significance, feeling special, unique, needed. I immediately perceive my client's top 2 human needs. For Sana, that is certainty and love. I immediately perceive my client's most important values, like for Jen, it was humor. Vehicle. I immediately perceive which vehicles my client is utilizing to get what he wants and meet his needs, From that I can infer his deepest fears. My own signature techniques are talking to the parts, Alan, finding the positive intent of the part in the moment when it got formed. Delineating the pattern from the essence, relating good behaviors to the essence and not to the pattern. In fact, the pattern is taking away from this. Describing the core wound and the associated thought, feeling, and behavior patterns that come from it. For Jen, that was the wound of being overburdened, smothered. So she learned what she doesn't need to do anything. kind of music that I like. Alright. In all those associated thought, feeling and behavior patterns, I utilize those for leverage. In order to build trust, I am speaking in first person to the child, explaining the behavior patterns. I am utilizing the associated thought, feeling and behavior patterns for the part after step 4, when I am actually resolving the pattern. Societal beliefs. If you truly were X, you would have done that. Dash. That shows how you didn't have the intent to kill yourself. If that happened, would you truly be happy? I utilize the thought patterns for leverage. March 27th. Yes, I am a master of the Tony Robbins techniques. I break the pattern. First, I understand and appreciate my client's world. I utilize the 14 sleight of mouth patterns for belief change after step 4. I utilize the Alex Hormozi painting pictures of pain and pleasure scenarios for leverage, and I combine them with the real life thought patterns, behaviors and feelings associated with it. Everyone has a system for evaluating. So I include in the thought patterns reactions towards what other people do or say in common real-life scenarios. I utilize the mirror laws and principles in order to get my client to understand dynamics and see that the pattern is not him, but a reaction. I utilize ancestral patterns in order to break identification with the pattern and show that it was just a reaction. I utilize intent and consequence for the belief change process after step 4. I immediately perceive the most challenging pattern that is getting in the way of my client being able to meet his needs. For that, what I need to change is the meaning he gives to sensation. Then it becomes perception. The meaning is formed through physiology, focus and language in the short term, and through beliefs, blueprint in the long term. I immediately perceive whether to change my client's blueprint, his need structure, his emotional home, explaining dynamics or real-life circumstances of habits or basics. My client wants to change how he feels and his actions. Life circumstances is related to lack of knowledge about habits, failure to realize the importance of basics. Dynamics is based on lack of understanding of psychological dynamics or how life works. Blueprint, parts intervention, is applicable for confusions, illusions, misconceptions and misperceptions. The blueprint was formed in reaction to the parents' demands, whose love was most scarce. I show and tell how the blueprint was formed and what intent the parent had in making these demands. Generational patterns. How similar demands were made on him, or how he rebelled against the demands made on him. I utilize archetypal motivators or motivations in order to link the behavior to a higher purpose, to draw strength through allying with an archetype. I utilize the wounds and the real-life thoughts, feelings, associations, reactions, assumptions, reasons why he is doing it. I provide massive emotional value to my client in showing him the reasons of why he is doing what he is doing, and what to do or refrain from doing in order to change it. Commission or omission. I utilize mirror laws and ancestral motivators and motivations to show the healing of life, the medicine of life. I cold read thoughts, emotions, feelings and reactions and reasons to build rapport with my clients and to do the step after step 4, taking the legs under the table of belief away, unlevering the associations that hold up the belief. Changing directions of belief, spatial. Yes, but you forgot where the strength was. Different cause. It is because you are a good soul underneath it all. Delineating the pattern from the essence of the person. It is not because you live on airplanes. And you are a good soul because look at how your niece treats you, period. Children are very honest in their reactions, so if you weren't a good soul, she wouldn't react to you like that, period. Finding evidence that she can't argue with, that is connected to the vehicle of love. Alicia. But if you keep believing that it is because you live on airplanes, you may start to actually believe it, which I know on some level you don't, You just tell yourself that to denigrate yourself because you have linked up denigrating yourself would protect you somehow, but it doesn't, It makes you weak, and it makes you lose respect, period. And even worse is you keep denigrating yourself. You may actually start to believe that you only love some have somebody around because you live on airplanes, and then both men, your niece will leave you and not speak to you and give you what you want on the same level. Dash. If you keep denigrating yourself, you lose the connection to your heart, which is the only reason your niece continues to talk to you. Dash. If you weren't that kind of a person underneath all of that, she would just take the chihuahua and play with it instead. Period. Because its heart is always open to her, yours is not when you are in your head. Period. What have I done here? Linking denigrating herself to loss of respect because she is significance driven. Period. Taken information she gave me, chihuahua, changing course. It is not because you live on airplanes, it is because you are actually a good soul underneath it all. Finding evidence. Niece's love. Consequence. If you keep up that belief, you lose her love. Pointing out how she on some level doesn't believe it. Explaining dynamic. Denigrating herself. Explaining intent. To protect herself. But you don't need to protect it through denigrating yourself, you are already protected by your heart's intuition, which can tell good people from bad people. It was just confused because it couldn't tell daddy's bad behavior, because you needed him and because you loved him, and there were some aspects that you at least respected, if not loved, even though you make those parts wrong, even in yourself, not just in him, and because your cognitive capacities weren't fully developed when started to believe that you need protection. Period. Which was true, you did need the protection, period. But you don't need the denigration. Now, that doesn't serve anybody at all, period. Another outcome. What if you entertain that thought? It is easy. I am a master of the 7 master steps of lasting change. I only have to focus on practicing a few core skills. Leverage. Alex Hormozi painting pictures. In sales. Positivity and belief. Wounds. Reacting through it. Reading through it 1 hour for the next 4 days. 7 master steps sequence. Knowing what to pay attention to in the intervention. Pulling out all of his techniques. Tony Robbins techniques. Belief work - various tactics. Identity - for reinforcement and leverage. taking resources from one area and applying it to another. Parts work. Leverage.